The message sat there on my screen like it had weight. Not a long paragraph. Not some dramatic confession. Just 5 words and a nickname she hasn't called me in months. I was standing in the kitchen with the fridge door open, cold air spilling onto my bare feet, holding a carton of eggs I'd already forgotten I'd picked up. My brain tried to do that thing where it reaches for the easiest explanation first. Maybe she meant it for me. Maybe babe was a joke. Maybe I was being paranoid. Then my thumb moved before I finished bargaining with myself. I typed, wrong person. Sent it. Watched the little delivered check appear. And suddenly my mouth felt dry, like I'd swallowed a handful of flour. For a few seconds, nothing happened, and it was almost worse. The kitchen clock ticked loud enough to make me angry. I stared at the spot where the message would turn into those 3 dots, like if I stared hard enough, I could force reality to pick the outcome I wanted. My phone was warm in my palm. The eggs started to slip, and I set them down too hard on the counter. Crack. 1 hairline fracture across the shell. Perfect. Then the typing bubble appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. I felt my stomach do this slow tilt, like my body was already stepping back from something my mind hadn't accepted yet. Another message came through. I meant for you. Obviously. Then, 2 seconds later, sorry. Long day. Just being silly. And then, like a cherry on top of the world's dumbest sundae, she added, "Are you mad?" I didn't answer. Not because I had some master plan. Because my hands were shaking in a way that made it hard to hit the right letters, and I didn't trust what would come out if I did. I locked my phone and leaned my elbows on the counter, breathing through my nose like that would make me calmer. The house was quiet in a normal way. Dishwasher hum, neighbor's dog barking once and stopping, the soft rattle of the vent. Normal sounds. And my mind kept replaying the first text like it was a line from a movie I didn't want to be in. Can't wait for tonight, babe. Not can't wait to see you. Not can't wait to relax. Tonight. Like there was a plan already in motion. Like she'd been counting down the hours. Context, I guess. We've been together 6 years, married for 2. I'm 34. She's 32. Her name's Paige. We live in a plain little house that we were proud of because we bought it without help from anyone. No kids. A dog that sheds like it's his job. We're not some glamorous couple. We're the kind who argues about whether we need another set of towels and then makes up over takeout. I work in IT for a mid-sized company. I am steady. I am boring. I like my routines and my receipts and knowing where the money goes. Paige is the social one. She can walk into a room and make people feel like they've known her forever. She works in marketing, and her job comes with a lot of quick drinks and team bonding and weirdly urgent after-hours meetings that never seem urgent enough to happen during the day. The last few months have been off, not in a single, obvious way, more like a collection of little things that didn't line up. She'd started guarding her phone the way you guard a drink at a crowded bar, always in her hand, screen angled away, face down if she set it down at all. She started coming home later, and when I'd asked how her day was, she'd give me the polished highlights like she was presenting a slide deck. It felt like I was hearing about my wife's life the way you hear about an acquaintance's vacation. General, safe, designed to be unexamined. But I told myself I was being dramatic. Everyone gets tired. Everyone gets distracted. Marriage doesn't look like the first year forever. The reasonable part of my brain kept saying, don't turn into the guy who interrogates his wife over a text. Don't become that. I wanted to be normal, trusting, secure. Then she sent the message. She texted again while I was still standing there, like she couldn't handle silence. Hello. Then, are you working late? Then, I'm going to run to the store real quick before you get home. I was already home. She knew that, or she should have. My schedule hasn't changed in years. The fact that she forgot, or pretended to forget, made my throat tighten again. So I did something I'm not proud of. I checked our shared location app. We set it up a year ago because she had a long commute and I worried about her driving at night. It wasn't some controlling thing. It was mutual. It was convenient. It was supposed to make us feel safer. Her little icon was nowhere near the grocery store. It was across town, sitting in the parking lot of a boutique hotel I recognized because I'd once looked it up for a friend's anniversary stay. I stared at the map until the street names blurred. My brain went no. That can't be right. Then I refreshed it. Same. I refreshed it again. Still the same. My first impulse was to call her. My second impulse was to throw my phone across the room. I did neither. I stood in my kitchen with a cracked egg on the counter and tried to decide what kind of man I was about to be. The kind who confronts. The kind who pretends he didn't see. The kind who drives over and confirms the worst thing in person. I hate that I even had to choose. I hate that one text turned me into a person making categories out of pain. I called anyway. It rang. She didn't answer. It went to voicemail. Her voicemail message was her cheerful, "Hey, leave it and I'll call you back" voice, and hearing it made me feel like I was going to be sick. 2 minutes later, she called back, breathy like she'd been jogging. "Hey, what's up?" It was too bright, too quick. "Where are you?" I asked. A pause. Small, but existed. "At the store," she said, and I could hear the lie in the way she stretched the word, like she was laying it down carefully, hoping it wouldn't crack. "At the store," I repeated. "Paige, I checked your location." Silence. Not complete silence. There was background noise, a murmur of voices, a car door somewhere. But she didn't speak. "Why are you checking my location?" she finally snapped, and the shift was so sharp it made my eyes sting. Like I was the one who'd done something wrong. I actually laughed once. It came out flat. "Because you texted me, 'Can't wait for tonight, babe,' and it wasn't meant for me." Another pause. Then her voice went smaller. "It was a joke." "A joke," I said, and my hands were gripping the edge of the counter so hard my knuckles hurt. "Okay, who were you joking with?" "Nobody," she said immediately. Too fast. "It was just my friend. We were talking about this dumb show and Paige." I heard my own voice change when I said her name. I didn't like it. It sounded like a stranger. "Your location is at the Marrow Hotel." She didn't deny it. That's what did it. If she denied it, I could have stayed in the familiar misery of arguing. But she didn't. She just breathed, and on the other end of the line, I heard a male voice say, faintly, "You good?" Like it was close. Like it was private. My chest tightened so fast I had to swallow to get air. "Who is that?" I asked. "It's nobody," she said, but her voice had turned careful now, like she was handling glass. "That's not nobody," I said. "That's a man. That's a man with you." "Stop," she said, and now she sounded irritated, like I was embarrassing her. "You're making this into something." I stare at the fridge magnets. A photo of us at the beach. Her handwriting on a grocery list. I wanted to rip them down. I want to hold on to them. Both at once. "I'm making it into something," I repeated. "You texted another man, 'Can't wait for tonight, babe.' You're at a hotel. You lied about it. And there's a man literally right there." She exhaled. "I can't do this right now." "You can't do this," I echoed, and my voice cracked on the second word. That sound, the crack, made me hate myself. I didn't want to sound like I needed her. I didn't want to sound like I was begging for the truth. "I'll explain later," she said, and I could hear movement like she was walking, like she was trying to get away from whatever room she was in, like she was trying to make it less real by changing the scenery. "No," I said, "not later. You're explaining now." "Please," she said, and it was barely a whisper. "Not on the phone." The fact that she whispered like I was the one she needed to hide from made something inside me go cold. Not dramatic cold, just a switch flipping. I didn't feel rage. I felt this quiet clarity that I'd been avoiding for months because it was easier to live in hope than in truth. "Pack your stuff," I said. "If you come home tonight, you're not sleeping here." "Are you serious?" she snapped, and suddenly the whisper was gone. Suddenly she was bold again. "You're going to throw away our marriage over a text." "Over a text?" I repeated, and my voice went steady in a way that scared me. "Paige, you didn't text me. You texted him. You told on yourself." She went silent. Then I heard that same man's voice again, closer this time. "Everything okay?" he said, like he belonged there, like he'd asked that question before. Paige didn't answer him. She didn't answer me either. She just hung up. I stood there for a long time, staring at my phone like it might ring and fix this. It didn't. The screen went dark. The egg sat cracked on the counter. The sink started dripping because I hadn't closed the faucet all the way. Ordinary details, like the world was trying to pretend it hadn't, just shifted. She texted 10 minutes later. Don't do anything stupid. We'll talk when I get home. Not I'm sorry. Not what did I do. Not please. Just damage control wrapped in a threat. I didn't respond. I turned off the shared location. I don't know why that felt important, but it did. Like it was the only thing I could do that wasn't begging or exploding. Then I sat at the kitchen table and tried to picture her walking back into this house like nothing happened. Like she'd put down her keys and ask what's for dinner. Like I'd smile and play along. I couldn't picture it without my stomach turning. I'm writing this because I don't know what the next step is. I don't know if I'm going to file for divorce tomorrow, or if I'm going to sit across from her and listen to explanations that don't change the facts. I don't know if the moment I replied, "wrong person," was the moment my marriage ended, or if it ended way earlier and I just didn't have proof until then. I keep thinking about how casual her first message was. How comfortable. How sure she was that the person on the other end would understand exactly who she meant. If you made it to the end, thank you for watching. And if you've ever had one small thing, a text to the wrong person, a slip of a word, a detail that didn't fit, crack your whole life open, feel free to share your story in the comments.